one.
Okay, we're back here at Blind Squirrel Nutworks, and we're getting ready to start our project of making this flint knapping bopper. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to light up our fire here with a little Silverfire Scout stove. I hope it works. I haven't used it to melt lead yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to melt some lead with that Silverfire Scout. I'm sorry. So first we're going to start off with a little bit of fire starting here. I know this is, it looks like cheating, but it's really not. It's just practicing. Now you're probably asking, why would I want to start a fire with flint and steel when I can start one like this? Well, you know, the reason is there's a certain attraction to doing things the ancient ways. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is to learn some of those ancient ways today. So here we go. We'll get this fire going. When we get that fire going pretty good here, we're going to set this ladle up here and melt the lead. Now, here's the idea. The idea is that what we're going to do is we're going to take that brass cap, we're going to round it off to make a little bit better bopper out of it, so it's round instead of flat. Then we're going to bring it back over here to our lead pot, where we're going to pour a little lead in it to give it some weight. So looks like my Silverfire Scout here is not yet gasifying. I'd like to see it gasifying before I move on to the next phase. It will be in a minute though. That Silverfire Scout is really something. You know, we were talking about why do I want to do this. Well, I'm making a bopper because I need to sharpen my flints, because the flints strike better when they have a sharp edge. So I watched a video the other day from my film Justin Wolf, and he showed how to stop. What? Well, why'd you distract me? So anyway, Justin Wolf there, a little problem with the set here. The staff's messing, acting up. Okay, well anyway, Justin Wolf there, he showed how to sharpen that flint with a bopper. And I said, well, that bopper looks like something I can make. So I decided to see if I couldn't make me a bopper. All that smoke you see right there is that fire starter still smoking away and catching on the wood. I packed it full of a whole bunch of little stuff. It's probably going to be, when it gets going, it's going to be pretty hot. Anyway, so I wanted to make this bopper so I could knap my flint. Well, getting back to why I wanted to do the flint and steel, if I was really in a jam situation, I'd probably much prefer to use my ferrocerium rod and my steel scraper. But the bottom line is that there's some kind of elemental basic attraction to doing things the ancient ways. And that reminds me that Jehovah has a message. I think it's a new message to the church. And I know the church is interested in new messages. You may be a bit surprised with this one. The new message is, come back to my old ways. And so, after a fashion, that's what I'm trying to do here, is come back to the old ways. Not only am I coming back to the old ways with the flint and steel, but I want to go back to the old ways of serving him. So you know, the prophets of old, the great old prophets, they always had that same message that I just delivered, the message that I just gave you. And their message was always, come back to my old ways. Stop serving the idols and come back to doing it my way. So, I guess it's a good thing to do, to be thinking about what idols we might be serving, and how we can come back to his old ways. It's given me a little trouble getting this Scout started, but I got it packed so full, because I wanted to get my lead melted. I got it packed so full that I'm having a little bit of trouble getting started like it's supposed to. I'm quite sure it's going to go like a bandit when it starts going. That silence is golden, isn't it? Looks like it's starting to cook now. Okay, well, let's move on over to the next stage and see how this does. Okay, the idea here is that we're going to take this brass cap. As you can see right there, can you see it's flat on the top? Well, a good bopper isn't going to be flat like that. It's going to be rounded. So I'm going to try something here. This is an inch cap. It's got an inch inside diameter. I've got an 11/16 inch wrench here and a 3/4 inch box end wrench. And we're going to see if we can't make one of these work to round that out. So I'm going to start with the 11/16 inch wrench. What we're going to do is we're just going to put it in here like this. Tighten that vise down. And we're going to use it for an anvil. Let's see how it works. And you see what we're doing is we're gradually peening that around. Just keep turning it and pounding it. See how it's rounding out there at the top. Well, the lid's starting to melt. Looks like the lead's going to be ready just about the same time that we are. It's coming along. It's coming along real good. See how nice and round that's getting now? Let's see if we can maybe finish this off with that 3/4 inch. Okay, we're going to try it. Lead's almost melted. This is almost done. Well, I think we got that good enough. Now if I can just get it off of here. Okay, can you see that? See how it's rounded out there? Domed out. Okay, well let's move back to the lead and see what's going on with the lead pot. Well, here we are back at the ladle. You can see that that lead is melting pretty good. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use my everyday carry vice grips to hold this thing somewhat level, because I'd rather hold it with my vice grips than I had with my pinkies. Lead melts at 600 to 800 degrees, something like that. That's a little bit too hot to be handling with your hands. So we're getting on our gloves, acting like we know what we're doing. Got my finger stuck in there. Okay, can you see that lead melting in there? See that? You see how quick that Silverfire Scout came up to 800 degrees there? That's incredible, isn't it? Little stove like that, little gasifier stove, brings that lead up so hot. So here we go, we're going to pour this in here. Need a little extra help here. I sure don't want to burn myself up. Here it goes. Okay, there we are. It's about half full. we put that lead in there because we want to give it a little extra weight. So it'll add some weight to that head. I'm going to try to melt the lead out of this thing here. Okay, well this is Michael with Blind Squirrel Nutworks, and we finished up this segment. I'll be back in a minute and we'll get started with the next half. Until then, shalom.